Yeah, fine. Debbie, how do I look?
Well, you don't look like you murdered anyone.
Well, that's good. Not the effect I was aiming for. And you sure I don't look too tarty or hard?
No.
Do I look pregnant enough?
Yes, Mum.
Well, then maybe I'll get the sympathy vote, eh?
Yeah. Hey, you look perfect.
I need another wee. My nerves.
Are you all right?
Have you two stopped arguing?
Yeah, totally. Three of us, we're a team.
Well, then I'm all right.
And, you know where to go, don't you, if that happens to me and your mum?
What are you talking about?
Well, supposing I wasn't around.
What do you mean?
Just supposing. Zach and Lisa will take care of you, OK?
Well, it's Mum that's on trial, not you.
Right. Well, as long as you know that, eh?
So you all right?
Debbie, you just asked me that.
Well, are you?
Yeah, I'm fine, of course. Let's get going, yeah? I'm terrified.
Hey, you can rely on me, all right?
Thank you. Okay.
I hate places like this. Mine's better than being in that church, innit?
Oh, yeah. Anyway, we're here now. Let's make the best of it, all right?
Oh, I'm so excited.
Do control yourself. This is a solemn occasion.
Shall we have a bet? I reckon she's going down. I put £1 on it. I bet she wriggles out of it.
This is highly inappropriate. Do remember I'm a witness.
I'd hate to think any of you were taking this lightly.
We know how to behave in a court of law, don't you worry. Oh, look, there she is!
Knock 'em dead, love. Oh, no, pardon the expression.
Zach, you look after what you...
Of course I will. Let me tell you something. I couldn't be more proud of you if you were my own daughter. Hold your head high. We're all behind you.
Thanks, Zach.
Bye, Mum. I'm proud of you too.
All right, darling.
Hey, you don't want to be late.
Yeah, all right. I'll see you later, sweetheart.
Now remember, you can show a bit of nerves. Juries like vulnerability. Try not to let your voice shake. They'll think you're lying. Don't look at the jury. They'll think you're playing up to them. And don't smile at the judge. He'll think you're not taking it seriously. Just look sad and thoughtful, OK?
Yeah, but I know...
Charity Tate. Too late. You're on.
Charity Tate, you are charged that you did on the 17th of September last murder Christopher Tate at your home in Emmerdale, contrary to Section 1, Criminal Attempts Act 1981, and the common law. Are you guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
She meets Christopher Tate at Home Farm. He phones the police to say that he feels he is in danger. Shortly after that, he collapses, poisoned. That poison was bought on the internet, which was accessed using Charity Tate's password. When it was delivered, Charity Tate signed for it. I do not ask you to convict purely on circumstantial evidence. The forensic evidence is equally compelling.
He's very good, isn't he?
The defendant's
Nothing
fingerprints
special.
were found on the glass
It's early
containing the
days
poison,
yet.
and
We
traces
could
of the
make the bet a
poison
little
were
bit more
found in the
interesting.
defendant's
About
car.
Fine
Add to
by
this the
me.
fact
She
that she
is so
changed her
guilty.
story twice.
Hey, we don't want to hear
When
that
questioned
word.
by the police, and I believe there is no reasonable doubt that Charity Tate killed her husband. Justice demands that she goes to prison for this callous murder, motivated by passion, greed, and common spite. Was the cyanide found anywhere on Mr. Tate's person?
No, it was not.
It's therefore a reasonable assumption, isn't it, that Mr. Tate did not himself handle the poison?
Objection, my lord. The prosecution is leading the witness.
Go on, my son.
That's my man.
Sustained. The witness will not answer the question.
See. Shall we call it a tenner?
Whose fingerprints were found on Mr. Tate's glass?
Mr. Tate's and Mrs. Tate's.
Whose computer was used to order the cyanide?
Mrs. Tate's.
And whose login details were used?
Prosecutor's very good.
No further questions, my lord.
And quite dishy.
Does the defence wish to cross-examine?
Briefly, my lord. Dr. Dolan, is it not true that anyone could have bought the poison using my client's computer and her login details?
Anyone who knew Mrs. Tate's login details and had access to the computer could have bought the poison, yes.
Thank you.
The witness may stand down.
Oh, she's looking very worried. I don't blame her. I've got a tenner on her going down.
My lord, I would like to call my second witness, Mrs. Edna Birch.
Mrs. Edna Birch.
I'd like to take you back, Mrs. Birch, to the afternoon of Thursday, the 4th of September last year. Do you recall that afternoon?
I may be drawing my pension, but there is nothing wrong with my memory. I presume you are talking about Cain Dingle's announcement in the Woolpack.
The Woolpack being the public house in Emmerdale. Please tell us what happened, Mrs. Birch.
I was trying to. He, Chris and Charity were having a public argument in the bar. Cain said, "I've had her."
Referring to Mrs. Tate?
Yes.
What did you understand him to mean?
If you will let me finish, I will tell you.
We don't want to hear it anyway.
Silence!
Cain then apologised to me for keeping me awake. I told him I didn't know what he was talking about. He then made it clear that he and Charity had had carnal relations in the house next door to mine. He also...
Not going too well, is it?
Oh, I don't know. Many more like her, and they'll all be feeling sympathetic towards Charity.
The village car park and the toilets in the Woolpack.
Did Mrs. Tate deny this?
No, she didn't. And Mr. Tate seemed to be aware of it too.
Thank you, Mrs. Birch. No further questions.
Mr. Willis?
No questions, my lord.
The witness may stand down.
My lord, I would like to call Cain Dingle. That night she was standing over the body and he was already dead. I thought you would try and pin it on me, so I said, "Let's run," but she panicked. So I robbed the cupboard and left her standing there. She's the one you want, Charity. Is that a true record of the statement you made on the 6th of October last year?
That's what I said, yeah.
Silence in court.
Silence!
Now, let me take you back.
Hang on. I've got another statement to make.
This is not the time or place. Let me take
Charity is innocent.
The jury will ignore that remark. Mr. Dingle, you are obliged to answer the question and refrain from making any further comment.
When did you arrive at Home Farm on the night of Mr. Tate's death?
She's innocent. Chris Tate is trying to frame her.
Go for it, son.
If you do not comply, you're at risk of being in contempt of court.
Contempt of court? You're not kidding.
When did you arrive at Home Farm on the night of Mr. Tate's death?
This is the same Mr. Tate who framed Charity, right?
Mr. Dingle, you will find yourself locked up if this continues.
Don't bring it on.
One last chance. Will you answer the question?
Nice wig, by the way. You got nose and glasses to match, eh?
I hereby hold you in contempt of court and sentence you to 30 days in prison. Take him away.
She's innocent. You're all being taken for a ride by Chris Tate. He's having a laugh. Get your hands off me. And I wasn't at Home Farm that night. You know where I was? Disneyland. Charity. Charity, don't let them grind you down. You just hang on in there, eh? Debbie. Debbie, I'll see you in a month, kid. A month, yeah?
It's been a good day.
Has it? My dad's in prison for the next month.
Ah, but his little exhibition was a setback for the prosecution. We like setbacks for the prosecution.
Look, Debbie, don't worry, he'll be out in no time. He was quite something in there, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
Meanwhile, what have you been doing today to earn your money?
Very little.
Yeah, very little. I was watching the jury. They think I'm guilty, I know they do, and you're just sitting there saying nothing.
It would be nice if I could interrupt the prosecution's opening speech, but I can't. And there was no point in me arguing with Mrs. Birch's evidence, because the whole village knew you were having an affair. And anyway, she looked like a bit of a handful. Didn't fancy taking her on.
Oh, well, it's nice to see you can have a joke about this. Scott and Zoe are coming tomorrow, and that's only going to get worse.
Come on, Mum, let's just look on the bright side.
Debbie, I am trying, love. I really am. Problem is, there's only one person in this world who can get me off if she chose to. And I can't see her switching sides.